Greetings, Frederick Riddle here with another episode of Christian News and Views. This is episode 2680, and this is Friday. And our topic today is War Deadline. President Donald Trump is running up against a Friday legal deadline that threatens to halt U.S. military operations against Iran. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth suggested Thursday that the ongoing ceasefire nullifies that cutoff date. Under the 1973 War Powers Resolution, Trump is required to withdraw U.S. armed forces 60 days after reporting their deployment to Congress, unless the legislative branch authorizes a military action, which it has not done. The U.S. and Israel first struck Iran on February 28th, and Trump sent a letter notifying Congress of the action on March 2nd, starting the 60-day clock and setting up a May 1st deadline. Trump may seek a 30-day extension under the resolution, but he has not done so yet, according to lawmakers. Hegseth, however, said in Senate testimony Thursday that he believes the statutory countdown clock pauses or stops in a ceasefire. The U.S. and Iran are currently in a ceasefire that was first announced on April 7th. Senator Tim Kaine, the Democrat from Virginia, who had asked Hegseth about the Friday deadline, immediately responded, "I do not believe the statute would support that." Democrats, demanding Trump get a congressional approval for the war, have pushed to rein in his war powers by forcing multiple long shot votes that have all failed. While Republicans have so far shown little willingness to curtail the ongoing U.S. military action, a growing number have said Congress needs a say. As I have said since these hostilities with Iran began, the president's authority as commander-in-chief is not without limits, Senator Susan Collins, a Republican from Maine, said in a statement after voting in favor of Democrats' latest war powers vote. The upcoming 60-day deadline is not a suggestion, it is a requirement, Collins said. Further military action against Iran must have a clear mission, achievable goals, and a defined strategy for bringing the conflict to a close. I voted to end the continuation of these military hostilities at this time until such a case is made. Trump asked at the White House on Thursday if he was getting antsy to end the ceasefire in light of stalled negotiations with stubborn Iran, pushed back on the premise. I don't know what stubborn is, because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. Trump was slated to receive a briefing Thursday from U.S. Central Commander Admiral Brad Cooper and other military leaders on potential strikes in Iran. The testy ceasefire has so far failed to lead to a peace deal between Washington and Tehran. They have instead each focused on inflicting economic pain via the Strait of Hormuz, a vital route for the global oil trade, trying to bring the other to heel. But their efforts, Iran's de facto stoppage of ship traffic through the strait, and the U.S.'s retaliatory naval blockade of Iranian ports have resulted in a deadlock. CENTCOM has prepared a plan for a short and powerful wave of strikes intended to break the logjam and force Iran to be more flexible with its demands. Other options being discussed include a special forces operation to secure Iran's supply of highly enriched uranium or taking actions to gain more U.S. control over the strait. So here's my opinion. The deadline's today. So how this is going to play out is anybody's guess. While the ceasefire currently in place may impact the deadline, there seems to be some dispute on that. Now, logic suggests it should have some impact, but when has logic really ever been a negotiating factor between the legislative and executive branches? Not in my lifetime, at least not that I remember. I am attracted to the idea of seizing control of Iran's enriched uranium. Now, that sounds rather easy, but it may not be as easy as it sounds. So they're giving out a thought here, a strategy in its broadest terms, without any explanation of what that means. So I like the sound of it, but I would like to know more about it, and I'm sure you would too. I think that the successes that we have had, they will be pretty much forfeited if we are forced to withdraw our troops. Uh, they will claim the victory. Um, it would almost be a sellout. Um, so I think that there should be some agreement between the House, or between the legislative and the executive branches. Uh, and the guy gets in the weeds, I'm sure. And so we'll have to see how that all works out. In any case, the hours and days ahead are going to be interesting, to say the least. So where's it all going to end? Well, if um, so-called Republicans like Collins um, says have their way, we could end up pulling our troops back and forfeiting the lives and of a lot of people who have died as a result of this action. This is part of a greater war, folks, and it should be cloaked in this. It should be talked about this in this terms. This war has been going on for over 47 years. Trump is the first president to really do anything about it. And so that being the case, that's where the conversation should be. We finally took action, necessary action. It did achieve its initial goals. But there are some other goals there that need to be taken. And don't forget the Iranian people themselves. If we now shut down and back out, we are literally telling them, sorry, you're on your own. And any hopes, aspirations that they have are probably going to go down the tank. So I would hope that some form of logic, some form of agreement can be reached, some kind of like an extension. And also, Trump needs some wisdom as to what he's going to do next. And that's where you and I come in. We come in on the ceasefire, we come in on the future decisions he makes, and we even come in on the actions taking place today. And how do we come in? Well, if you haven't guessed it already, it's by prayer. We need to pray. Ask God to give our president, his staff, his administration, and the congressional leaders some wisdom in all this. They have shown an incapability of getting together and agreeing. So God needs to step in somehow, some way. I'm not saying he's got to show up in a mighty, mighty way, but just in a simple way of giving them a spirit of unity, a spirit of trying to find some common ground where they can pursue this action. I think even the Democrats know that it's a necessary action, but they don't want to say it because it undercuts them with their base. But I think they know it. But that knowing it and having the courage to say it are two different things. So we just need to wait and pray. Pray for our leaders, folks, not only in the war effort, but in everything about governing, that you need your prayers every day. Well, that's it for today. I always try to encourage you, inform you, and inspire you. I hope I've done that. I also try to give you something to chew on. I hope I've done that. And I want to remind you that TNR Independent Books is a Christian indie publisher. If you're a Christian and you want to learn how to write, we will teach you. If you are a Christian and you've already written a book or it's almost completed and you're ready for looking around for a publisher, then consider us. We are looking for you. Well, you have a great day. And go to trbookservices.com, go to our bookstore, go to the scroll down to the writing department, and there you will find opportunities, services that we offer. And we provide discounts. And there's one going on right now that you may be, if you decide you want to be using us as a publisher or as your teacher to learn how to write, that would be available. And so you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode.